Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about fighting with two swords, okay? And what I'm going to start off with is with the rapier, okay? And basically the rapier is a long, thin sword that was used during the Renaissance period. And basically it is a stabbing tool, okay? This blade doesn't really have enough mass that if you make a cut, it may hurt, but it's not necessarily going to stop someone. So this was basically a long ice pick. Now, if you were fighting this single-handed, okay, right? Basically, you're keeping your point on line, and you're basically covering the center line, okay. So basically, I'm using the back of the sword, okay. As you can see, I'm keeping the point threatening at your face or body, and I'm moving the hilt back and forth, up and down, to block, okay. So, with a case of rapiers, as this was known, basically it's two of them, okay? Alright, so what I don't want to do is put the two swords together, because then somebody could bind up both of them, push it to the side. You know, they would use one of their weapons to bind up my swords and then kill me with the other. Or if they have a buckler or some other parrying device, again, they could bind up both swords, push them to the side, and kill me with their primary weapon. So you want to keep the swords separated. And the way I usually separate them is by pulling the hilts out like that, okay? Either in this direction, this direction. Another possibility is to hold one forward and one back. This way they can't be bound. So I'll do it from this side so you can see. Okay. All right. Or one forward, one back. All right. So those are your typical guards if you're using if you're using the rapiers, and you're fighting them together, okay? One of the things that, I like to tell people that your primary defense is your distance, okay? And the footwork that we typically use with this is what they call gathering steps, fencing steps. But basically you have your feet not in the T position like modern fencers do, but a little further out, okay, at the 45. And basically the way you move is whatever direction you're moving in, that foot moves first. And what that does is that creates space for the other foot to move in. So as I advance, okay, or retreat, okay, so I'm always ending up in the same position that I started off in, okay. So if I go back, if I go to the left, if I go to the right, I pivot. Okay. Okay. So the thing with distance and timing, and I've mentioned this in other videos, the way you use distance and timing is, picture this: if you got two cars and they're going down, well, if you're standing still and you have a car that goes straight by, you can't see what's going on. You don't know what the driver's doing because you're standing still, the car's going by at 60 miles an hour. But if you have two cars that are going down the highway, at relatively the same speed in the same direction, you're able to see what the other driver is doing, okay? And the reason is because you're both going at the same speed in the same direction. So for that reason, when we're fencing, okay, what we want to do is, you want to manage your distance. So if I see somebody's attacking me, and I step, because if I just stand still and just try to block it and attack, I may mistime it. I may not fully see what they're doing, but if my immediate impulse is to step back and try to get the block, well, now I can really, by stepping back, matching their speed, I can see what they're doing. So in that case, I can get the block and then come across with the thrust, or pick up the sword, move it to the side, and attack with that one. Okay. And the same thing goes as far as moving forward. Okay. If they're retreating, because a retreat might be a setup for an attack. If you can maintain that same distance with them, you're going to be able to see things. Okay. Now, one of the things that, like if I have the swords here, okay, this one has, the reach on this one is obviously different from the reach on this one, because basically my shoulder in this position is further back, okay? Now there's things I can do to change that. Okay, number one, I can twist my body a little bit, but the other thing I can do is I can step a little bit to the side. Because if I step a little bit to the side and you don't move, now relative from your position, okay, both blades are both points rather are equally matched. Okay, so there's an idea about fencing and about using a case of rapiers. Now that's with the rapiers. Here I have cut and thrust swords. Okay, now these have a little bit more mass on the blades. So with these swords, we can cut, okay? And the cool thing about heavier swords like these is that you can use them against heavier weapons. With the rapier, okay, because it's long and thin, I mean it wouldn't be good against trying to block a polearm, okay? So that's why one of the most common forms used during the Renaissance was the rapier with a buckler. The buckler being a small shield, okay, and basically the buckler was capable of blocking heavier weapons, and that's so basically even if you had, let's say, one guy with a heavier sword like this, or even with a polearm, he probably wouldn't try to block a heavy cut with this with this sword. He would use his buckler and then try to counter with his sword. Okay, now with the heavier swords, okay. Now we have to kind of accept that, hey, we might be fighting a variety of other forms. Okay, we might have another guy, with two swords like these. So you could have a 2-sword versus 2-sword fight. You can have, if you're fighting this, you could match up against a shieldman. Okay, or you can match up against a long 2-handed sword like a polearm or a great sword or a long sword or something along those lines. Okay, so depending on what type of weapon I'm matching up against, that's going to kind of determine what guard I have. If I'm fighting against a great sword or a polearm, okay, the polearm being longer basically obviously has the advantage of the thrust at longer range. They can hit me before I can hit them. So then I'm going to definitely want to block that center line. I'm going to keep the swords in close, okay, and basically what I'm going to try and do is really basically I want to be either out of their range or get inside their range, okay, and fight from there. I don't want to fight from a position where they can hit me but I can't hit them. Okay, so against the polearm, I would probably take I will bring the blades in a little bit close like this. Against another 2-sword guy, right, who has similar swords, just like with the rapiers, I'm probably going to want to present points, okay, because this sword will work as the same as a rapier. So, with this sword, I'm going to want to fight that point game, okay, fight with the tips, okay. Against a shieldman, okay, that becomes a really interesting fight, okay, because with the shieldman, there's only limited openings. Now, a shieldman can only attack you. His options are somewhat limited, not fully limited, but somewhat, because he can't attack you through his shield. So depending on the size of the shield, okay, basically the bigger his shield is, the more defense he has, but at the same time his offense is more limited. Now, that doesn't mean that it's very limited, because presumably if the shieldman has been practicing with that shield for a long time, they're going to develop a style that works with that. But just by looking at the size of the shield, okay, and whether they're right-handed or left-handed, like if I'm fighting a right-handed person, right, so from your position, they're here, they're holding the shield, most of their attacks are going to come from the right side, and then they got that high offside attack that they can throw over the shield, okay? So that I know that, so from my perspective, most of my blocks are going to be here and up here, okay? So I can adopt a guard like this. So that's going to block those high cuts, and this is going to block those low cuts over here. Or I can go to an A-frame like this. Okay. So likewise, if the shieldman is a left-handed person, I know that all the attacks are going to come on this side. So I'm going to flip that around. Okay. So I'm closing this side over here, and I'm blocking the high cuts from this side over here. Okay. The A-frame basically is kind of neutral, where you can go either way. All right. So with the shieldman, particularly, with the shieldman, you only have a limited number of openings, okay? Because you can't attack him through his shield. Your greatest advantage with two swords is deception, okay? And the basic idea is, if you're fighting, what I'm going to do is threaten here, attack here, okay? Yeah. Or attack there, okay? And then while I'm there, this is blocking the opening, and then attack there, okay? Now, the thing with two sword is that, basically you have, with two weapons, at any given time, basically one weapon's going to be attacking while the other one is defending. I mean, you can have both weapons defending, that's fine, but you can't stay in a defensive position for too long, especially against a shieldman, because basically eventually he's going to kill you if you just stay in a defensive position, because his defense is better, okay? He has a shield, so he can walk up to you with, relatively more safe, and given his, 80% of his body is covered, and only 10% of your, or not even, maybe 1% of your body is covered with these two things, okay? So if you just go on full defense and he goes on full offense, the shieldman's eventually going to find an opening, okay? Eventually you're gonna miss a block and he's going to kill you. So as a two-sword man against a shield man, you have to go on the offensive, okay? Now that doesn't mean that you have to only be attacking in one direction, because basically you can also bait somebody into into attacking you, and then as they attack you, you throw your shot. Okay, so you can retreat. You can use retreats as a way to bait people in. So another way of putting it is you can use your retreats offensively. Okay, you can retreat and move to the side. Okay, retreat, move to the side, and throw your cut. But very important that one sword must always be blocking while the other one's attacking. You're never gonna throw, let's say, like two leg shots like this, because now your head is open. Or even if and even if you go, let's say, for two headshots or something like that, or if you just attack here and here, he's in a position where he's got a bigger shield. He's gonna block that with his sword, that with his with his shield, and then as you're coming back, he's just gonna fire. And he'll basically chase you back, and he'll hit you where you're open. Okay, so with the two swords, the nice thing is that you can attack anywhere. You don't have a shield in your way. You can attack in all these different positions, but at the same time, all your attacks have to be mindful of your defense. You cannot attack in such a way that you leave yourself open. Okay. So and the other thing that you don't want to do is, you don't want to treat, the tendency for people who are right-handed fighters is to treat the sword in their left hand as a shield, all right, and basically just fight one-handed. Okay, in which case, if you're gonna do that, you might as well just get a shield, so you'll get a better defense out of it. Okay, with the two swords, basically both of these are swords and both of these are shields at the same time. Okay, and you're using the two swords, together. So basically, you're using that as a distraction to cut there, okay? And then what happens is, when that comes in, okay, that comes up into a defensive position, because from there I can bring this up here if I need to, okay? So as soon as you throw that shot, you have to be mindful of where where you have to anticipate where the incoming shot is and how you're gonna block it. All right. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.